Hey, Margie here. Do you find the holidays to be stressful? Well, if so, you are not alone. And the good news is there's so much that can be done. I've been teaching my patients and clients tools that they can use because I've noticed the stress increases during this time of year. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So, lots of great information. Stay tuned. I'm really excited to share this information with all of you because years ago, we're talking almost 40 years ago, as a physical therapist, what I started seeing was that people were so stressed out during the holidays. This is supposed to be a joyous time, but I was seeing people, I was working at that time as with people with TMJ and jaw problems and headaches, and people were coming in so spasmed and so tense and their symptoms so much worse. And it was due to the stress of the holidays. And I realized just working on their muscles and just doing stretching and all the things we were doing wasn't enough, that we needed to really find tools so that people didn't have to become so stressed out during the holidays. So I've been teaching this to my patients and clients for over 40 years. We go over this in the happiness class and program that I run. And I thought it'd be a great thing to really share with all of you because it's so powerful. And why not enjoy the holidays as much as we can when there is a lot that we can do? So let's start out. And also, let's just talk about the bones for a minute, because unfortunately, stress is a negative factor for our bones. Stress has been shown to increase activity. I've said this so many times of the osteoblast, reduce activity of the osteoblast. That's the bone building cells. So they reduce that activity, but increase activity of the osteoclast, the cells that actually break down bone. So this is something we could be working so hard on our diet, our supplements, our exercise, but yet we have all of this stress and anxiety that's really causing havoc. So what can we do? Because we certainly don't want it to get elevated during the holiday seasons, which it can. So today what I'm going to share is 6 tools with you that you can put into your life right away. In the United States, it's a few days before Thanksgiving. So we still have plenty of time to start practicing this and put this to use so that it can really make your holiday season so much better. And why not let it be a joyous time, which it's meant to be? So the first tool is that you need to identify. You can't, like, if you ask people, oh, how are you during the holidays? And they're like, oh, it just causes me stress. And sometimes people don't figure out, well, what exactly is it? So what you need to do is, number one, you need to identify the areas of stress during the holiday season. What is it exactly that it's not just the holiday season? Is it being at parties? Is it that you're around certain relatives that you don't, causes you stress? Is it the people that, as I said, tend to be at the parties, or is it buying the gifts? Is it the preparation? What exactly is it? And what we can use for that is we can use the principle of contraction and expansion. So there are 2 energies. There's one of contraction and one of expansion. And let's just feel them for a minute. So you're going to feel contraction. So I actually want you to do this with me, unless you're driving a car. Or somewhere that this wouldn't be safe. So what I want you to do in contraction is tighten your hands, tighten your eyes, squeeze your shoulders, just get all tightened up, tighten all your muscles, and just feel what that feels like. Get that sense. And in this sense, try to say something like, I feel happy. Really hard to, because you really don't feel happy in contraction. Now let's try expansion. Your chest is expansion. Your arms are up and out expanded. And just feel how that feels. And let's say, I feel miserable. You really can't. It's 2 different feelings. And rarely do we tune into our bodies, but this is the time we can. So you're going to feel contraction and you're going to feel expansion. And what we want to do, contraction, that tightness, what that correlates with is unhappiness, fear, pessimism, constriction, resistance, low energy, disease, separation, just feeling bad. Versus that expansion that's connected with love, happiness, optimism, flow, vitality, ease, well-being, connection, and feeling good. So I use these principles all the time as like my own internal GPS. I tune in if it's something just to sort of, even when I'm making a decision, does that cause expansion? Does that cause contraction? But we can use this for the holidays. The principle is obviously whatever expands us makes us happier. So we want to try to live our life in as much expansion as we can. So during the holidays, what I like to do is make a list. You take a piece of paper and you'll write two headings on it. And what the two headings are going to be are at the top is going to be expansion and at the bottom, no, so two headings. There's one that says contraction on the left and expansion on the right. And then what I want you to do is think about the different activities that you're involved with during the holiday season. As I said, it could be preparation, the parties, it could be the actual family gatherings. What is it? And then you close your eyes. You're going to take a deep breath, nice belly breath, and then list each one under the appropriate column. So think about, okay, being with people who are going to be at your holiday dinners. Where does that go? Going to the parties, where does that go? Preparation, whatever it is, just see where it fits. And then you review this. And you see what is it that whatever is expanding you, you want to do more of. If there's gathering with friends and doing things, do more of it. But then see what causes contraction. What is it? And that's where you want to figure out what to do. So the next tool would be, instead of focusing on the problems, because that's so easy to do, I get tense during the holiday because I have to be around this relative, or there's just too many parties and it makes me tense, or I have so many gifts to buy, it's just too time consuming, whatever it is. Instead of complaining about it, or because that's not going to get you anywhere, focusing on all the problems, focus on solutions. And this is a principle I teach in my happiness program, being a victor in life and not a victim. If we just say, oh, poor me, or this is the way it is, nothing happens and nothing ever gets better. Even with our bones, like, oh, poor me, I have osteoporosis, that's going to get you nowhere. But when you change it around and focus on, okay, well, what action steps, what solutions can I take? It will make such a big difference, just that mindset. And so, when we first started, all right, identify with the contraction expansion. What are the issues that are bothering you? And then number two, let's focus on solutions. So for example, if if we find that it's the preparation or the gift buying, well, maybe we can do it way in advance. Or what can we do so that we ease that, so that we make that better? And we're going to talk about, if it's certain people that you're around, we'll talk about that, what to do in a little bit. Okay. So the thing is, what we want to do is, a lot of times, this is what I hear from so many people, one of the problems in the holidays is that they're around people who are very negative. And this is a question that happens in life. You're trying to be a positive person, but then you're surrounded by all this negativity. And this can happen during the holidays because it brings people together that maybe you don't see on a regular basis. And oftentimes we don't get along with every single person. So what do we do if others are negative? What can we do? Well, one thing I like to do, first of all, is how you view a person. So in terms of, you can look at people in different ways. You can look at people like, oh, what's wrong with them, and list a whole, you can go on and on. This person did this person did that, or I don't, have negative feelings to this person, or whatever it is. But you can also look at that person, what's right with that person. And my mother actually taught me this many years ago. Look at the person for what are their special gifts? What you Is there anything that that person did that was nice or kind? Was that person when you were sick, they called you and they cared? Whatever it is, if you can look at someone and see the good in them, it can make such a big difference. But what steps can we take? Because there is a lot of negativity in our daily lives, but it somehow seems to even be more because maybe we see them more or maybe we're surrounded by them more during the holidays. So what can we do? Okay. Number one is you want to build your own emotional resilience. So, for example, or your own emotional immunity. So, what do you do normally when you want to stay well? You build your immune system and you do all sorts of things. Maybe you'll take your vitamin C, you'll eat well, you'll make sure you're getting your sleep. Well, the same thing with your emotions. If you build up yourself so that you're feeling positive and you're feeling good about yourself and you're feeling happy, you're gonna be a lot more resilient to their negativity. It's really the stronger people say if there's a room with 2 people and one's negative, one's positive, it's the stronger it's how strong is your positivity to counteract that negativity, and it really, really works. So when you work on your own things, that can make such a big difference. But I think a key, and this has helped so many people, is to create and keep your boundaries. So normally, if there's a relative that maybe, isn't your favorite or that really, you just feel horrible when you see them, it doesn't raise you up because there are people that raise you up, we're affected by others. And there are people that just do the opposite, unfortunately. And so normally, you can create your boundaries. Maybe you don't have to see them too often. It could be physical boundaries. But sometimes we're all thrown together during the holidays or even during parties, you'll see people. Whatever it is, what you can do is you can make your own boundaries. So let's say there's that person that just complains and complains. It loops, keeps saying the same thing. And you just can't take it. So then you stop it. You maybe listen for a couple minutes. You say, "You know what?" You switch the conversation. "Let's talk about something more positive," or "What actions can you take?" Something to stop it. You don't have to continue with the negativity. You need to protect yourself. Have those boundaries. As a physical therapist, I'm touching people and there was a lot of negativity and I'm very sensitive to energy. So what I had to do, there's a couple things that I did that really, really worked. And this can also work during the holidays. Okay. So number one, what I do is I fill myself with white light. Like you visualize a big ball of white light on top of your head and it opens up and just feel the white light. It's this beautiful white light and it's healing and it's energizing. And it's full of positivity. So feel this white light coming through you. You visualize you visualize yourself filled with this amazing white light. And you know what? Darkness cannot enter. So when you're full of this white light, it's very hard to pick up the emotions of others. So that's that's one of the first things I always did. I fill myself with white light. And then you can send out positivity, send out love, happiness, joy, whatever it is, send it out to them because that really helps counter the negativity. If it's that bad that you can actually visualize a wall so that you don't absorb it. But the white light, this is a really powerful technique, and as I said, I've used this for over 40 years, and it's so very effective. So all of these things really work when it comes to others, if you're feeling the negative emotions during the holiday. So a couple other things that, if you're feeling any tension at the table or whatever, appreciation always works. And what that is, you can even go around the table. I mean, this is something that, you know, a lot of times we give thanks for things at Thanksgiving, but this is just a practice you can use during the holidays or even other times, just the appreciation practice. You just acknowledge something you appreciate about another person. And you just go back and forth, or you could be at a table and let's just go around. What do we appreciate? But when we look at people through the eyes of appreciation, it's a two-way street. It feels so good. And then at the end, it's always good to appreciate something about yourself because that will make you feel better as well.
Hey, Margie here. If you're looking for a way to stay motivated and get results in your bone building plan, then I have the perfect solution, the Happy Bones Club. This is my exclusive members community where you get direct access to me on our live monthly Q&A sessions, along with in-depth classes, guided workouts, and interviews with guest experts. So you can continue to learn about all aspects of your bone health and tailor your journey to strength and vitality with the support of a community working towards the same goals as you are. So just go to tinyurl.com/happybonesclub to learn more, or you can click the link in the show notes. I hope you will join me and be part of this great community. Now back to the show.
Another thing that I feel really interferes with the holidays, this is another tool, is to practice forgiveness because, again, we're around different people. And this is what I've heard. This is what people have told me are areas that seem to creep up during the holidays. They have to see this relative. And, people hold on to grievances or there's no way I'm going to forgive this person because of what they've done. It's just that awful. But the truth is, as this is something that Nelson Mandela said in a different way, but by not forgiving, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. We're hurting ourselves. We're not hurting the other person. It's done. It's done. But by holding on to it, we are the ones that suffer. And so, it's not that easy to forgive. And it's not like, but, by doing that, you're freeing yourself. And this is something that I saw for years. People would have this muscle tightness and, we would loosen it or work on it and then it came right back. And then so often it was that they were holding on to something. They were just not forgiving. And once they did, muscles relaxed. It's amazing how much happier you can be. So one tool, there's many, many different ways to work with forgiveness. And there's a great, actually, you know what? I'll include it under the podcast. It's a great forgiveness meditation. I'll put that under the podcast, the link to that. But the other thing that you can do, and what the meditation does, it helps you see that person with some compassion. But an easy thing to do to start with is just to write a forgiveness letter. And it's not that you're condoning what the person did, because you're not. That's not the point. It's just you're forgiving them so you can move on. The person, you never have to give this letter to the person, but by just writing it, it's to give yourself permission. I'm going to forgive you so I can move on. Again, you don't condone. But if this is holding you back and causing ill feelings during the holiday, it can be, I just can't even say how many people have been helped by just incorporating forgiveness. And it's something in the program I teach, we spend time on, and I have so many people have thanked me because it's really changed their life. And this is something that I hear all the time. Oh, I have to be near Aunt so-and-so, and she did this to me, or whatever it is. You need to just let it go. And again, not to condone it. And you're not saying what they did was right, but just so you can move on. Okay, so the tool number 5 is, again, what I had said is if you build up your own immunity and you build yourself up, things aren't going to affect you the same. So if you can practice some stress reduction techniques, whatever they are, it's going to be so powerful. And, I always start people just with hitting the pause button and breathing. We have the breath. We always have it. There's many, many different ways to breathe. And there's lots of ways that you can use, whatever works for you. But you should be nice diaphragmatic breaths. So when you breathe in, your belly comes out. And then when you exhale, your belly comes in. And, what they found is that the exhale is very powerful. So that if you can even, there's different types of breathing, but if you can even extend the exhale. So let's say you inhale for 4, exhale for 8, inhale for 2, or exhale for 4, whatever it is, whatever is going to work, try. But I also like bringing words in. So I'll think of, inhaling peace and love, exhaling tension, or inhaling white light, exhaling black smoke. There's many things we can do in terms of the breath, but it's very powerful. And something that I like to do, I actually learned this from Gabby Bernstein. It was a technique she taught that was just so simple, but really powerful. And what it was just to touch your fingers. So what you do is you adjust, and then you can do this under the table. That's how great this is. So it's just touching the two fingers together. So it's going to be, and the words she said was, "I choose peace now." So it's touching the first and second finger, the thumb to each finger. And it works really well. So under the table, okay, whatever they're talking about. It also could be the conversation. We didn't discuss this. There's a lot of things, politics, so many things that you can be starting to get tense at the table. So under the table, you just do, "I choose peace now," and just keep saying that to yourself. And that can really help. Taking some deep breaths can really help. You could also even do the quick coherence technique. You may not be able to put your hand on your heart, but this has been shown. This I love. It's one of my favorites, actually. This has been shown. The Heart Math Institute has done research on this, and it really reduces stress and cortisol. And all you do is you put your hand on your heart, and you visualize breathing from the heart, and then you visualize some people or a scene or wherever it is that you feel really good inside. So you can just take your mind away from what's ever going on for a minute, or even think of bringing in love, ease, compassion, happiness, whatever it is. Or even you can think of a baby animal, because that always brings joy. Whatever it is, just for a minute to take you away from that. And it works really quickly. And this is something just to practice even, because then it becomes part of you that you just have to think about. If you can put your hands on your heart, great. If not, you just focus on your heart and it can work. So anyway, the point is that you want to do something, the more you practice, whatever it is, and I can talk hours and hours, and I teach this in my happiness program, all sorts, there's so many different stress reduction techniques, but whatever works for you. It's sort of like if your cup is filled to the brink and something happens, it's going to top you over. So if you're already on a high level of stress and the holidays, whatever it is, and then you're at a table and someone says something, you're ready to just, it's taking you over the edge. But if you've been practicing relaxation and you've lowered your cup, your cup is not filled, you're lower, you can go flow with it, the waves will come, but you'll be able to ride them. So I'm such a believer. I do stress reduction every single day. Personally, I meditate, I go outside, I do grounding, I do lots of different things. They don't all have to take a lot of time at all, but it really works. So if you could fit that in your day, starting now, it's just going to help you through the holidays as well as your life. And the last tool I wanted to talk about is contributing to something greater than yourself. And so this is so powerful. Sometimes, let's say there's a lot of people that are alone, that aren't with relatives, that aren't, with anybody on the holidays. And, that can be very, very lonely. So sure, you can reach out to friends. There's things you can do. If you realize that's your issue, you're alone. Yes, there's many different things you can do, but you also can get involved. There are a lot of groups looking for people, and there's nothing better that changes your happiness or changes things when you do contribute to something greater than yourself. So if you go to the food bank, the hospitals are always looking for people. There's so many volunteer opportunities during the holidays that you can get involved with. You can get involved with a group. And it just changed, and I've seen this over the years when people say, "You know what? I'm gonna do something. Let's do something to contribute to the greater good." And, do something you're compassionate about or that really feels good. And all of a sudden, your spirits elevate, you're helping others. This is just such a win-win. And, so many people, as I said, are alone on the holidays. And this is one of the best things you can do. Be with other people, be contributing in some way, shape, or form, even online. Somehow, whatever you can do, this is really a great way to elevate your happiness and really reduce the stress that happens during the holidays. So I hope this was helpful. These are principles that I teach in my happiness class. So if anybody wants to even do more this year, this is a program I've had for many years. It's my favorite program. I love all my bones programs, but this happiness class, what it is, it's the actual happiness class is 8 modules. And we go over all different things about how to be a victor in life and not a victim, what to do about negative thoughts, how to live from the heart, what in your body can you do to help your happiness. Also, we have like how do you increase, it's sort of like plugging into spirit. What can you do, which is also powerful. And let's see what else is on that in that class. We do having passion and purpose. And then also about, improving relationships. So it's really filled with all sorts of great things. And so besides having the 8 recorded modules, we meet live once a month. We meet on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And it's just such a great group, and we get together, and we're all working to elevate our happiness. So it's just very, very positive, and happiness has been correlated. Increased happiness is correlated with increased bone density. So I've seen so many health benefits of people that have attended. So if you're interested at all in this class, I am until January 1st. I'm giving a holiday special. So if you just put the coupon code in Happy Holidays, it will be a 50% off. So the class is $197. So it would be 50% off of that. So that's, if that's something you're interested in, that will be in the show notes. And the other thing that you can also get this class, I have a membership that's only $29 a month or $290 for the year. And this is one of the classes. This is part of it's called the Happy Bones Club. So there's 2 ways that you can be part of the happiness community. If it's something that resonates with you, if you feel, you know what, I am not living my happiest life. And that, we're here once on this earth, and we want our life to be, we don't want to just survive. We don't. We're not here to survive. We're here to thrive. And there's so much that can be done when we work. It's not something that just can come naturally, but I've found over the years, there are certain happiness habits that when we incorporate them, our happiness soars. I mean, it's been proven, and I've seen this for as I said, I've been teaching happiness for over 40 years because I saw early on in my career as a physical therapist, I had gone through a bad situation in my life, and everyone's like, "Margie, you're so happy. What's your secret?" And I thought if they only knew what I went through, they wouldn't be saying this. But the truth was, it hit me that, you know what? Despite my circumstances, I was happy. And what was it? And I realized that happiness is an inside job, not based on your circumstances. That's what real happiness is. We go with the flow. We're able to adapt because life isn't easy. Our circumstances, we oftentimes have no control over that, but we can learn how we can cope with it. Anyway, so if you want to be part of that, I'll have both links in the show notes. But use these tools because, again, the holidays should be a joyous season, but don't think of them like that. Just think that, think of the positives in the holidays. And also, I believe in visualizing. So what's a good thing to do isn't if it's too hard to visualize, something positive you want to happen, sometimes, by just, saying something or an affirmation or I love the holidays. If that doesn't resonate with you, what you do is, what would it feel like if I was having a great holiday season? Just what would it feel like? And just feel that feeling, because then you're going to send that out to the world and it can be so powerful. So try these tools. Happy, I guess the first holiday is Thanksgiving that's coming up for people in the United States. So happy Thanksgiving. And I'm so grateful for all of you being part of the community. And, let me know what you want to hear on the podcast because that's always so helpful to me. So thanks so much for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.